Hi folks, Bill Malone, your relationship guy. Today's topic is about negotiating. And if you've all been in a relationship, you know that negotiating is an important element in any relationship. All relationships require that we need to negotiate, including where we're going to put the salt and pepper shaker, who's going to do this chore, who's going to do that chore. Now, my wife and I have been married for 35 years. And we most recently have had a very successful negotiating event, and that has to do with blankets. Like I said, we've been married for 35 years. And for 34 of those years, we have wrestled with the blankets. The tossing and turning, the pulling. She takes all the blankets, I freeze. I take all the blankets, I wrap them all around me, and she freezes. Back and forth we went. Finally, we both decided that this has to go. And so we decided we needed to negotiate a new strategy. So we got together and talked about what is the problem here? Is it the blankets? It's the people? Is it how we sleep? We agreed is that we do not share blankets well together. And what we decided was that we're going to have to come up with a different scenario, because sharing blankets for 34 years has been a tug of war. And therefore, what we decided was a different outcome. And so we looked at the various different kind of outcomes. You know, me sleeping on the couch, her sleeping in the spare bedroom. From each of us getting an electric blanket, and that way maybe we won't freeze, getting a smaller bed, getting a bigger bed. We looked at every different scenario there was that we had hoped would resolve our problem. We looked at each one and we evaluated whether or not what each one of these was helpful or not. And we finally decided the best strategy for us was that we have separate blankets. We looked at the pros and cons. I was a little bit concerned maybe we won't be able to snuggle enough. But then I realized, no, wait a minute, we're not snuggling now. We're sleeping and wrestling with blankets. So I also agreed that probably the best thing to do is we get separate blankets. And you know, we have looked at this and we've done this for about a year now. And I got to tell you, it's been very successful, and that we don't fight and struggle with blankets. I'm not cold anymore. She's not cold anymore. Now, I think sometimes she threatens to take my blankets, but I'm keeping my blankets and she's keeping hers. We both like it this way, and we have come up with what Stephen Covey outlined in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We have come up with a win-win scenario. And the win-win scenario is separate blankets. So let me illustrate. What were the steps that we used? Step 1 we used was to identify what is the problem. Now, many times when I'm working with couples, they are trying to negotiate a solution, but they're talking about 2 or different problems. So step 1 says assess what the problem is. Step 2 says what topic are you going to negotiate? A lot of times couples come to the negotiating table with multiple topics. You can only negotiate one topic at a time. What we did was also step 3 was to brainstorm the various different possibilities. We looked at each one, we looked at the pros, we looked at the cons, we looked at the advantages, and we looked at the disadvantages. We then decided collectively to what would be the best, and we both agreed the best scenario, which is step 4, deciding on a plan, and step 5 is to implement the plan, and step 6 is to see how the plan works. So we implemented the plan. We realized that it worked really well. We both were comfortable with it, and I really like my blankies. And I think she likes her blankies too, and we're no longer fighting over blankets, and neither one of us tend to be cold, except if I leave the window open. But that's my fault. So therefore, you follow these steps, and you're going to find that you're going to be able to reduce some of the conflicts. Because remember, all of marriage is a negotiation. Now, I recommend that you start with baby steps. Start with something small, like blankets, and you can work up to the other major issues that may impact your relationship. But I can assure you, if you follow these 6 steps, you are going to be more effective and you're going to have a more satisfying result. So try them out. Again, if you like this material, you like my blog, please subscribe, share it with your friends. I like to be helpful, and I hope this is. And so look for me again, and we'll talk about our next topic. And our next topic will be something that you all will enjoy. So come back and see us.